Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira is a fight that is about to be a banger. We're talking about a fight between one of the most entertaining fighters ever in the lightweight division. We're talking about Charles Oliveira and Max Holloway. Here's the thing. The timing of this fight is so good to the division and really beneficial to the whole division to be refreshed again. We have Max Holloway, who should actually revive himself again in the division and really get himself more active through winning this fight. And we got Charles Oliveira, who really needs this win so much to actually activate his way back to the title. Although it's really so hard for him, but I hope he can do it. Now, a lot of people are discussing what is the potential of Charles Oliveira to actually win in this fight. Here's the thing. Charles Oliveira needs to make 3 points in order to win. The first point is to never ever let Max Holloway pressure him on the striking. And the second one is all about really making the fight more wrestling style. The third one is to try to get some submission. The first one, which is never letting him take the pressure, it's very obvious why. We're talking about Max Holloway, the one who really wins all his fights due to his absolutely brilliant ability of putting pressure on striking. So it's a very obvious thing. Gotta take punches and have an exchange with him. Second point, which we said, that talked about the wrestling, as we saw Max Holloway versus Ilia Topuria, we saw some wrestling from Ilia Topuria, and he actually was able to take down Max Holloway successfully. So if Charles Oliveira was able to apply the same thing again to Max Holloway, that's going to be a very brilliant idea. And if he continues to do it, he's going to gas Max very fast. He's going to gas him out, okay, and he's going to be able to do a lot of ground and pound and maybe try to submit him. Charles Oliveira has got a very good chin, and he's not going to be able to really stand up there with Max Holloway. So any pressure from Max Holloway, any good combo, Charles Oliveira is going down, because Charles Oliveira's jaw is very soft, okay? It's a glass. He easily gets knocked out, and he got knocked down a lot, recently in his latest fights, and I'm not gonna be surprised at all if Max Holloway knocks him down 3 times this fight. But the thing is that after he gets knocked down, you should never ever go with him on the ground, okay? Because he's so dangerous, okay? But for Charles Oliveira, if he gets knocked down and tries to pull Max Holloway to the ground, he's gonna be able to do a lot. Any otherwise, Max Holloway is gonna have it. Okay, now we're gonna discuss what should Max Holloway do in order to win. Okay, first thing first, okay, is to push him to the angles. Charles Oliveira should be pressured and pushed to the angle. Okay, he should never ever be in the middle of the octagon. Okay, because if you let Charles Oliveira be in the middle of the octagon, right, and he puts a little bit of pressure on you, right, he will immediately try to take you down on the cage, okay? So you never want to be at the edge. You never want to be at the edge. You always want to be in the middle. You want to be in the middle and just do striking, just box with him. That's how you take the points and maybe knock him out. Who knows? I'm real so excited for this fight. This fight means a lot for Charles Oliveira. We're talking here about a huge opportunity for him to come back to the division. If he wins, I don't know if he'd make it, but it would be a very brilliant blood twist in the division, actually, if Charles Oliveira wins again, and have some title run again. I don't know. And for Max Holloway, for him to win this fight, it's going to be a very good step for him to come back and, be active again in the division, because he hasn't fought in a very long time. Because he hasn't fought for a decent amount of time. So Max Holloway, as I said, should never ever let the fight go at the edge of the cage, and he should always be at the middle. He should never ever follow Charles Oliveira when he gets knocked down, and that's obviously, just like Ilia Topuria did. Never ever go with him on the ground. And Max Holloway should really stop the clinch. He should be able to stop the clinch and stop the takedowns, okay? I think it's going to be easy for any anti-wrestler like Max Holloway to stop the takedown attempts in the middle of the octagon, okay? But at the edge, at the cage, you're not going to be able to really do that much, right? Because when you have the edge, it's very different. Now, what if Max Holloway wins, right? If Max Holloway wins this fight, okay, he's going to have a great chance to have a fight with the winner from Ilia Topuria and Justin Gaethje. Because we all know Arman Tsarukyan was not going to be surprised, to be grounded again, after a fight. Because it's no surprise for everybody that Arman Tsarukyan could just be absolutely neglected for the title shot after the fight of Ilia Topuria and Justin Gaethje. Let's say Ilia Topuria wins versus Justin Gaethje. It's going to be a huge chance if Max Holloway wins brilliantly in this fight that he could take the title shot from Arman Tsarukyan so easily. But what if Max Holloway loses and Charles Oliveira wins? It really doesn't mean anything, actually. Ilia Topuria is the champion and he knocked him out so badly, Arman Tsarukyan as well, the contender could easily take him. Maybe he would be able to have one more with Justin Gaethje if he loses versus Ilia Topuria, and that's it. He's really not going to be able to do anything to the title. We're talking here about the title being put between either Ilia or Arman, and both of them have the scale set to easily beat the shit out of Charles Oliveira 10 times out of 10.